Well, I suppose this is going to be a precursor to an event I'm planning on getting going. 7:34 in the evening. It is the 22nd of December, 2024. Uh, this either would have been called Diary of a Griever Named John Weaver, which is me, or something concerning about zombies, and I'm not quite sure if I'm sleep deprived or emotionally screwed up. At least I know I'm both. So let's just say that's just little old me from Rosamond, California. It's a season to get into holiday films and try to feel the holiday spirit leaching out from them. There's a great number of them made throughout the century. I mean, throughout the 100 years of cinema made. And stories be retold again and again and again. Most of them get repeated on Hallmark because they're the same situations that get over and over and over again. There's always a Scrooge essence in every story. Never about nativity. It's always about a Grinch or a Scrooge material in there somewhere. Every year it's almost the same monotony watching the films annually. It gets emotional on some occasions, and other times I'm like, oh God, not again. They offer the same, well, they offer the same theme over and over again. Regarding Christmas Carol, you can thank Charles Dickens for that one. His reiterations since the 1800s have been driving us crazy ever since. And we have to keep retelling the tale in a newer fashion or an older fashion or whatever fashion we can, but it's still the same thing. A redeemable person, I'm just going to say person at this point, who grew up having hard times and then have a few sporadic good times in his life, but love of money and conquest and power and ego, greed, and everything else, pride. Well, that takes more precedence. So any love that the person might have had leached out because they want. And they don't care because they're going to get. That kind of reminds me of this time of year. But it reminds me of the last several decades I've been watching it happen more and more in reality terms. So yeah, I'm pushing 59 next year and I'm going to be watching 50 plus years of the same thing reiterated over and over again in creative media, but also in reality. The greed want more. They are not satisfied. They are a never ending hole that can't be filled. They have a conquest of sucking up everything in there and still want more and still can't fill out the hole. It's like dealing with a black hole. When I deal in astronomy terms, you have a huge star and it explodes itself outwards until it's nothing but a shell and remnants and then start collapsing on itself. And with intense pressure and everything else forcing it into a singularity that nobody can measure or define or anything else, but it's just something there, and its influence is worse than what it was originally. And it wants more and more. So how are we supposed to deal with that one in reality? We're seeing it in two-legged forms all the time. We're seeing it in two-legged forms of people left and right. They want, they want, they want. They can't have enough. They can't get enough. And everybody else underneath just doesn't matter anymore because their insatiable greed and want and lust is just never ending. We see the lesson said over and over again. They tried to put it into philosophical, religious, whatever kind of format, but it's still the same. Either you repent or you're going to get sucked yourself Gone. It's something that smaller black holes would have maybe a way of merging with each other, making a larger black hole. We have yet to see a major explosion of a black hole in our lifetime, of where it would explode, collapsing upon its in itself, and then the energy of itself just boom, and then it's gone from history. But until then, it wants, it wants, it wants, it wants, it wants, it wants, it wants. It'll take the whole universe and it still won't be able to fill it up. Astronomers have been using their telescopes and radio telescopes and pointing it out a lot of directions at the universe surrounding us, trying to identify, trying to figure out whether or not if there's going to be anything larger out there and older out there that still managed to suck everything else into non-existence. And scientists have been discovering for decades that there have been black holes discovered in many galaxies. Was the universe formed out of a black hole or someone else's black hole? We don't know. And how do we compare that to Christmas and the feelings that we have, or the holiday season we're trying to write about, or what Dickens was trying to explain to us? I mean, we already know about the Christian texts. We already know what the Holy Bible was trying to tell us on a constant basis. Sometimes we had to keep reiterating the lessons over and over again, and I know a lot of people kept falling asleep in church, not to mention the kids. But we still need to reiterate it to understand it. And I know there's going to be a lot of people yawning their face off saying, "We know! What do you understand?" We understand, so what? There we go. So what? So what? We create the thing about Krampus and Santa Claus out there. Both positive and negative about the winter holiday season. Somewhere there was a story in the Old Testament concerning about a town trying to survive for 8 days on limited oil and supplies until they were liberated. It was the 8 days that was a miracle because they didn't think the oil was going to last that much, and it did. That's why the menorah is important in Jewish faith. For us, it was a manger with a baby in it. We focused more on that than we did about the outlying area, which was families. Did they not even understand that we had families? They took it for granted. They always take it for granted, but they never just never understood that you had a family. I know you had a husband or the man of the quote unquote house, and you had the woman who was pregnant, ready to give birth. You couldn't find a place to do it, so a manger was, better than out in the open in the street. It was warm, comfortable, enough hay. Put some cloth on it. Maybe the baby would be warm enough. And if it was right by the animals, yeah, there was a lot of warmth. So, yeah, maybe of the earth. But every time I kept thinking about it, over the past year or two, I kept thinking, what was the element I kept missing? And it was clicking on me. Families. Family is not exactly defined just by bloodline. It's also defined by the group of people that you share your life with. At least a portion of it, or maybe the whole extent. People care about you, you care about them. Certainly there's been times when you get sick and tired of them, but you still are connected to them. Did they not see this coming? We try to remind ourselves of this holiday season, but we constantly fail as human beings. All these great teachings, all these great gurus out there, all these wise people, and yet with all the wisdom that we keep pouring out and trying to tell people that we are very knowledgeable of, we are very dumber than anything because we never learn. We never learn. I have to be reminded of it on a constant basis, but I'm also reminded of people I've already lost, which hurts like hell. It makes the holiday season a lot worse for me. But I struggle through it. I struggle through it. And I'll tell you one thing, watching the old movies, old classics left and right, I mean, they're supposed to be giving you something. And throughout the years, I was stuck watching them as a young kid, watching it with my mother and my brother. There was a lot of titles out there. Some of them related to it, others somewhat related to it, others not related at all, but still have a significant meaning. You wouldn't be surprised that Mary Poppins had a situation with it, not to mention Julie Andrews singing on hilltops that had something about the holiday season. And if it's not that, then it's Bedford Falls we have to worry about. Or The Fog of London, 1860 something, or 70, where an old man has to discover that his life sucked. His present he wasn't even part of, and his future, well, he's facing a tombstone and scared the hell out of him. More to it than that. What else of the things did we ever forget? Aluminum trees going out of fashion because of a cartoon popped up and just made aluminum trees extinct. Supposed to have been the thing back in the 50s and 60s, weren't they? 1950s, 1960s, actually. But the cartoon was still prevalent, even though the author is long past, God rest his soul. His legacy still remains, and educating people left and right for it. What does Christmas mean? Is there a set meaning that we can grasp onto? Other than old movies, old hymnals we were talking about, and edibles during Christmas that we're making, both solid and liquid form. Traditions that we have, games, dance, some things to generate the cheer. I'm I've been through a lot of it. But when you get separated from it, it makes me more and more pondering. More and more pondering. I'm wondering if I'm going to be turning into Scrooge at my age. I'm going to be turning 59 next month, but I am not a man of business. I'm a man of books, but not sticking them all the time in there and ignoring life. No, I had life happening all the time while I had my face in books, trying to get pieces of paper that has some kind of academic lettering on it. A promise made a long time ago, not to mention a butt kicking for decades, till the time I think I was going to be doing this thing. And by the time doing this thing, let's see, we had people and family members dying on me left and right. COVID nightmare kicked up, and then readjustments, and now I'm dealing back into caregiving again with a dog. That's, she's trying to struggle through this holiday season, just not trying to be depressed as hell, but she still wants me all the time with her. So I can't leave. But while I'm watching the films that I tried to get into, the Scrooge musical that actually had Albert Finney in it, or how about Alastair Sims? Two of the movies I remember watching for Christmas Carol with the family. I mean, there's a hell of a lot of renditions and reinterpretations of the stories. I'd seen a few of them. I didn't like a few of them. I knew one particular English actor who had worn a Starfleet uniform as a captain, doing a one-man show in a small theater called the Wadsworth, on BA campus in Westwood, a long time ago. And hearing this voice, this British accent, dancing around, trying to act as if the characters are alive on stage, holding the audience mesmerized. And when it was done, it was a packed house, about 300, I think. 2 or 300 in that night. A one night only. And the only thing I remember, no, the one major thing I remember, besides him dancing around all over the stage, and I know that within a few years he also made a theatrical version that was on television for cable. It was one thing to see him alive on stage. Watching the television version of it just didn't have the magic in it. And the one thing when he was doing in the limousine is watching the audience and seeing two guys do this to him. So out the sunroof was the hand sticking up doing this. Of course, we were dressed respectfully, not like I am right now. But I would say to that wonderful captain of an enterprise, thank you. Thank you, Ebenezer Scrooge, for trying to tell a young man a long time ago not to be that kind of character in Dickens' story of being a royal schmuck. Yeah. These days, I'm seeing everybody else being royal schmucks and worse. Trying to tell people that they matter more than anybody else, and therefore they need to be whiner babies all the damn time. That's more of the Grinch territory than it is of the Scrooge territory. Do I absolutely need to watch all these other films? No. Listen to the music? Maybe. There's some tunes I still have I keep listening to from time to time, but memories they do create. Long ago they put up, and I remember places when I can remember the tune that I've been to and have well, strong feelings about. Mannheim Steamroller, when they did their music, I remember coming across them working at a retail company. I was trying to find this one particular piece of music that they played like crazy, and I can't find it since. But I had talked to the guy who brought in the DVD, or actually the tape. I wish I remembered what the name of the song was so I could find it and play it again because it was so cool. Not Christmas, just it was like if you're on a ski slope and you feel the wind and the snow and everything else. That's why you're whooshing down, and the music was like that with the tempo. It was so cool. And they did the Christmas musics, and I'd listen to them. I listened to the music during those days. 80s, 90s, almost 2000, and then besides the holiday classics. And then there was Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Blow Your Ass Away from 2010 to current. Of course, Mariah Carey had to be in there, and everybody else tried to sing out their songs. These days, you got the zeros and ones on algorithms, videos, not just a rebroadcast of the old music, different versions of the music. Hell, even there's heavy metal of Santa Claus coming out. Thank you, Ozzy Osbourne, for that one. I don't think it was Judas Priest. Of course, the 80s, he still had a lot of Christmas music coming out there, rock and roll stuff. Mariah Carey came about in the 90s, I think, and Still scaring the crap out of people to this day. Uh, all I want for Christmas is you. Well, what I wanted for Christmas I can't have. Except maybe in my dreams. But while they were here, they were part of me. They were part of the life. Or part of the memories, part of the waking, the celebrations. Yeah, we bought stuff at stores and gave it to each other and wrapped up packages. It freaked everybody else out left and right. Go to different places, have holiday meals. People's people came over to our house. We went to their house. Watch the films. Just get part of the situation. Me get stuck doing the trees for a hell of a long while since a teenager. I was Johnny's tree. Guess Johnny was in charge of decorating the Christmas tree. David could do the holiday meals when he was able to, which kept him out of the kitchen, thank God. Mama, I hear you. She's trying to get me over here. Mama, I'm right here, sweetheart. I'm right here, sweetheart. If I had a Santa hat, I'd put it on her, but I don't think she'd keep it on there for long. But she is my reindeer that I have to watch out for. It seems like for the past few years I've been trying to put more and more overkill in the decorations. I kept thinking more and more. If I happen to keep it sparse for the decorations, it'll mean I hadn't put that much effort into a holiday that meant so much for my family. Right now, this is the only family I've got. A very stressed out dog. It's going to keep me up for several more hours until maybe I'll go to bed about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Because she will do that to me. But she is my dog. Yeah. My Madam Stress Case. But this is how it is. This is how it is. This is a couple of days before the big holiday, or not quite sure if we're going to have a nice quiet Christmas. And I know the whole complex will have a nice quiet Christmas. Some of them will be getting the hell out of here or already left already. And not able or not willing to deal with anything else around here. They'll be quiet enough. Contemplating. And the next day is going to be the cleanup. Trash bins are going to be full of boxes, used paper, bags and bags of waste stuff. And everything will be back to normal then, won't it? And then the Christian faith was supposed to keep this thing up for 365 days, 24/7. Yeah, I'm not quite sure about leap year though. If that's the case. That's the case. And I started playing the film of Christmas Carol with Alistair Sims in it. Yeah, I started to ask myself, why am I playing that again? Memories. Traditions. Some things I had to do because my family would do it. I did it to honor the family. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow's the 23rd on a Monday. The 24th is on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, the big day. And then I got to worry about less than a week after that. There'll be arming, there'll be gearing, there'll be New Year's, and we'll be blasted to hell again. Oh, joy of joys. Humbug, I tell you. That's humbug.